If fear is the only thing stopping us from achieving our dreams, and we only fear what we don't understand, then the antidote to fear is knowledge. All we have to do is find out who has the knowledge that we need to conquer our fears and achieve our entrepreneurial dreams. My name is Callum Walker, and welcome to the podcast that will help you figure it out and conquer this lonely entrepreneurial journey. Hello everyone, and welcome to the podcast. Well, as always, I know that the one thing that every single time you're listening to these episodes, you're always thinking, which is, what's the Great British Weather Forecast for the day, Callum? I always kind of seem to start these episodes off with what the weather is saying at the moment. But honestly, this is the summer of 2025. And my God, it's been unbelievable. I haven't known a summer like this for years. We have just had pure sunshine and it has been glorious. Now, what's today going to look like for you? Today's a really important one. And it's something that's kind of been pulling at my soul for a while, for a long time. And it's amazing because nature always kind of gives us the answers. And nature has given me the answer to what I've really actually been searching for. And I think really I've been running a business for 10 years now. And the constant question in my mind is why is this thing actually about? If you are kind of at the point where maybe you've been going 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, maybe even 10 years, like myself, and you may be almost kind of questioning, where am I going? What is this thing actually about? Today will really help you. Now, I think the thing is as well, when you first start up a business, it's kind of weird. Obviously, it's about making sure that financially it makes sense. It makes sense to you. You make sales, it's exciting, it's new. And all of these things are kind of driving you forward. But I think what happens is that as you get out of the survival mode, so to speak, the survival mode of I need to make sales in order to make sure that I can stay alive, you begin to start asking different questions of yourself. Really kind of being, you probably can't see this you definitely can't see this in the podcast. I've got about 50 flies hovering around me. Oh my God. Anyway, right. I'm trying to run away from the flies, but it is what it is. I'll just keep on walking. So yeah, what kind of happens is that you begin to start asking different questions. And I think you start to almost kind of ask these questions what is this thing really about? Where am I actually going with this thing? I think that in the self-development world, there's a lot of what's your purpose? What's your why? One of my favorite books, as I've quoted a lot on this podcast, is The Alchemist. And it's really about going on this journey of what he refers to as your personal legend. And effectively, the boy is going to the pyramids. And he's going to the pyramids because his treasure is at the pyramids. And it's quite interesting because we can almost kind of do this dance occasionally where we can take actions, we can make decisions that aren't fully in line with our personal legend, our real kind of destination and real, you can almost call it spiritual reason for running this business. It's almost there's a point in that book where the boy basically, he's with the alchemist and he's found this girl and he's in love with her and he's really, really happy. But he's on this journey with to the pyramids. And the alchemist basically is talking to him and the boy goes I'm really happy. I don't need to go to the pyramids anymore. I'm having a lovely time with Fatima. That's her name. I'm having a lovely time with Fatima. Everything's amazing, etc. And he goes, but Fatima isn't at the pyramids. And the reason I want to kind of bring that up is that if I kind of look at my last 3 months, financially have been very, very successful for me. I've sold more than I've ever sold before. I've worked less than I've ever worked before. I've been away more than I've ever been. I've been to Sri Lanka, Dubai and Rome and Dublin, and Belfast. in the past few months, all while earning more money than I've ever earned before and working less than I've worked before. And that's not to impress you in the slightest. It's not. One, it shows you what's possible. But I'm kind of at a point where it's interesting because I was listening to The Alchemist and I heard that statement, which was, but she's not at the pyramid. And I almost kind of feel like, my purpose with this whole thing isn't just to make as many sales as I possibly can and to just be great at golf. Like, don't get me wrong, it's nice to play golf in the sun, and it's nice to not, it's nice to not, be panicking financially. Like, that's really nice, and it's nice to not have to worry about that. But I think there comes a point, and I'm sure every entrepreneur who's listening to this has experienced this, or if you haven't experienced it yet, you will, where again, it's almost like you come back to that point of asking the question, like, what are the pyramids to you? What is the treasure that is at the pyramids? And I've consistently asked that question. It's interesting. Me and Alice were talking about this. I said to her, I was like, if you're looking for advice, like proper advice, and the best way that I could help you, what would that legitimately be? And she said, it was interesting, because she said a fair few things. And I think that, like, and I said to her, I said, because I guess really, like, what I've been clutching at is almost like, what is this thing? Like, where am I actually going? Where am I actually almost kind of taking this whole thing to? And I kind of got my answer. So if you are maybe almost kind of in that place where you've been running your business for a while, you're at that place where you are beginning to ask yourself the question, like, where am I going with this whole thing? Am I really going to be doing this for the next 10 years or so? This will help. So where I'm at, I'm right now, you definitely can't see this if you're listening, but I'm in a huge field. It's one of my favorite fields here, out the back of where we live. And I mentioned on a podcast episode a few weeks back, where, we went to Sri Lanka and it wasn't growing. And then all of a sudden, like, before we left to Sri Lanka, this field was completely empty. 2 weeks later, I came back from Sri Lanka and it had fully sprouted. And all of that growth happened without me actually seeing it growing. And if I was standing there just staring at the plants, I wouldn't have noticed the growth. But by taking some time away from it, the growth was happening. You just couldn't see it. But I've more recently learned an even more powerful lesson, which has helped me. So I had absolutely no idea what was actually growing in this field because it was just a plant. Like, it was just some green sprouts, like, coming out of the ground. I had no idea. And it was only until a couple of weeks ago, as the thing kept growing, as it kept moving, eventually it revealed itself. And I started to look at it and I was like, there's this little green plant that's just sprouted and it's got this little tip. So what is it? And I was like, it's a wheat plant. It's a wheat plant. But I only noticed that, like, there was a couple of them. I was like, oh, maybe this is a wheat field. Maybe it is. I don't know. There's a couple of green plants, but isn't wheat completely yellow? Maybe it's a wheat field. So anyway, like, I just left it, came back a few weeks later, and the whole field, right now, you can't see this. It's just a sea of yellow. Well, it's not even yellow. It's that strawy, yellowy, browny color. It is absolutely abundantly clear that this is a wheat field. But I had absolutely no idea what it was. But it only revealed itself as it continued to grow. And I almost kind of feel that maybe in the self-development world, there's this absolute, pressure put on you to know exactly what it is. To know exactly what it is, where you are going. Because I guess it comes back to school that, we're taught that everything has to happen in a linear fashion. Everything has to happen step by step by step by step, clear stages. And if you don't know where you're going and what the specific target is, then it can't happen. But I don't know. I think that the more I've kind of gone through this journey, the more it's just important that you're going in the direction that your soul is taking you in, because the vision, it becomes clearer as you move forward with things. And I think that when we're looking at your compass, when you're looking at the thing that is guiding you in the right direction, again, I've mentioned this before, but I think it has to be the things that drive that feeling where it's like, yes, this is the thing, like this is it. And it's that feeling. And unfortunately, it doesn't come with a clear label. It doesn't come with a clear label that, oh yeah, that's your thing. It's just that feeling. And I know I get that from this podcast. I know I get that when I'm speaking on stage. I know I get that when I'm doing one-to-many sales. But specifically, I get it when I'm doing this. And that's enough for me. That's enough for me because I know that as long as I continue to do this, I'm going in the direction that is the direction I'm supposed to be going in. And yeah, the vision is definitely kind of becoming clearer as I go along. But I think that, what does this mean to you? You know, maybe you are searching for, your true purpose, your true reason for being, your true calling. Maybe you are. But I don't think it comes with a clear label. I think that it also changes. And, there was a point where I thought my real reason for being was to be the most nutritionally knowledgeable person in the whole world. That's definitely not the case in terms of my desires right now. It's not what I want to be doing. But nutrition and my knowledge has allowed me to have an amazing gateway to bring people into my world. My 6-week nutrition course, I get such fantastic feedback. It legitimately changes coaches' lives and it brings them into my world and it allows me to grow my community. And I don't think I'd be able to grow the community I'm able to grow without my nutritional knowledge. So it made sense at a certain point. So I remember Steve Jobs saying, it only makes sense looking backwards. You can only connect the dots looking backwards and, seeing what has happened that way. So, in terms of how this can help you, some action steps. Note down the things that just feel right. And I think do more of those things because they'll connect you to that purpose and people really kind of connect with it. And I know with my podcast, I get great feedback from you guys. I really do. I mean, if you can actually reach out to me and tell me that you're listening, that'd be really helpful because, I just had a wonderful one-to-one call with a coach who's just come onto the program. He's like, I've listened to loads of your podcast episodes. So I didn't know that. Reach out to me and tell me. So if you have been listening to this for a while, or maybe this is your first episode or whatever, can you please reach out to me? I actually would really like you to, because I'd like to know, what do you like about it? What do you not like about it? If you ask me to not do episodes while walking, the answer is no. I wouldn't do it otherwise. But yeah, just tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. And also, I tell you what would be really helpful. I'd love to know, what have you got from listening to the podcast? What have been your main, I don't want to say takeaways, but what have been the things that have helped you the most? That would really it would really make me happy. So yeah, if you could do that, that'd be great. So I think that my task to you, go and find the things that make you feel that way. Make you feel that way. Follow the feeling. Never forget, for every one of your clients, gave you one new client, you've doubled your business.